This is Remix Report with your hosts, DJ JD and DJ J Spring.
Today's video brought to you by YourDJDrops.com, the nation's hottest DJ drops.
What's up, everybody? I'm DJ J Spring.
I'm DJ JD.
And this is Remix Report, and we have a special guest today. Dave Aude is joining us. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And our audience is mainly open format, so a lot of the guys who are come to our site probably weren't spinning a lot of house music maybe 5 years ago. And now that everything's changed, open format almost equals like house nowadays. How has that changed your life?
Well, I mean, it hasn't really changed my life. It's just made my life a lot better. Dance music is king right now, and I think I've been making dance specific tracks for a few years, and just like everybody in dance music, been waiting for this moment for dance music to make it to the mainstream, just like it's been everywhere else, Europe and everywhere else in the world except for pretty much the United States. We're last, but that's okay. It's here finally, and it's a great thing that dance music is so prevalent and so huge and so popular, and it's it hasn't changed my life, but it's made my life busier, and which is good and better. I mean, it's just people are finally I think appreciating what I do.
Have you dabbled in other types of music production besides just dance music?
Yeah, I've dabbled in other types. I mean, I've dabbled in pop music, which in my opinion, pop music and dance music overlap a little bit, because the stuff that I'm doing is usually vocal based, so song based, so they overlap a little bit. I haven't done any hip hop. I have written a country song, so but pop and dance are really the two things that I focus on.
Would you ever be open to maybe a dubstep break? Have labels ever asked you to kind of dabble in different kind of stuff and different sounds?
That's a good question. Unfortunately, 99% of the time, people aren't asking me to do specific things like that. They're hiring me because of my reputation and my discography, and they know I'm going to deliver a certain thing. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do a dubstep break. I mean, if I'm feeling like doing a dubstep break, I'm going to do a dubstep break. I really, dubstep hasn't really hit me yet. I mean, I appreciate it. It sort of reminds me of sort of early drum and bass when that was sort of bubbling, and or jungle. I should say. Jungle was actually the first before drum and bass, but to me, it hasn't really inspired me yet. It's just basically something that's been around for years. It's not like this new thing to me. It's just a new version of jungle, drum and bass, breakbeat, big beat, which was 15 years ago. Breakbeat's cool. I've certainly definitely had a little bit of breakbeat in certain remixes and certain productions here and there over the years, but I'm not really thinking, when I do things, I don't really think, let me do a dubstep thing. I just think, let me do something cool here. I don't really think like, let me throw this cool name-dropping genre-specific thing, So, yeah. Although dubstep's cool, but I don't really, it's not something that I'm trying to do.
Yep.
Now, you've done a lot of remixes and had a lot of success with many remixes. Now, when you do different remixes, multiple remixes for a certain artist, where do you get your creativity from, and how do you want to, do you have to make an effort to make them sound different from each other? Do you worry about that at all?
That's a great question, and I'll answer it. There's a couple other guys that do what I do, or I should say remix, because nobody does what I do, but that do remixes. And the thing that I find disheartening is when you have a remixer that has a successful remix, and they get hired to do a couple other things, and they kind of just plug in the vocals into their sort of sound, which is understandable. If you have a hit record, a lot of guys follow up their hit record with a record that sounds similar to the hit record, right? I mean, kind of makes sense. And if you listen to my remixes, you're going to find similarities here and there. Maybe kick drums, drums in general, maybe a couple sounds here and there. But, I always make it a point to definitely make things sound different. I don't want 2 records sounding. I guarantee I've done 500 remixes at this point. So if you're going to find 2 records that sound something alike. I mean, there's no way I'm going to make 500 things that are totally different, right? But, I would feel like I'm gypping the artist or the person hiring me by not at least trying to give them something original. I mean, something different sounding. To me, the thing that sounds different about each mix is, the vocal or whatever I'm remixing, helps it different. The song, the arrangement. So, I really think it's just too lazy guys just plugging in their sounds in. I don't agree with that. I think it's something that you need to try and give every different project its own originality.
Do you?
And, yeah.
When you're getting in that creative mood for a song, do you listen to the original song like all the way through, or do you try and come at a fresh approach?
It's good. That's another great question because you look at it two ways. If you don't, sometimes there's been a few times when somebody sends me a vocal, I've never even heard the song, and I've done remixes for whatever reason. Maybe the original's not mixed or something. I don't know. But most of the time I get the original song and I'm able to see what they're doing because, once in a while you're going to get inspired from the original. You're going to hear, wow, that's really cool. And, for instance, I'll give you a good example. Coldplay. I did a Coldplay Charlie Brown remix. The original I thought was pretty great. And I didn't want to just totally rip the original apart. The original had a lot of time signature changes. And, in other words, there was a lot of like 6-bar sections instead of the usual 8-bar sections. So rather than me try and force it, which I could have done, into an 8-bar section, I wanted to keep the Coldplay-ness of the original. And if you listen to the Charlie Brown mix, you're going to hear there's a couple in the verses. They're not necessarily 8-bar sections; they're 6-bar sections, which is true to the original. Which is, I think, if the original is great, keep it. Did that work?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So, I was going to ask, when you make your remixes, since we're on the subject, how do you think about the final product? Do you just concentrate on how it sounds, or do you balance it with how DJs are going to play it in the club? Does that factor into when you're making your remixes?
Well, you mean so you're talking about sonic quality?
Well, no, I'm talking about like how you bring it in from the start, how long your intro is, maybe
arrangement.
Yeah.
So arranging, you're talking about like arrangement. Yeah. Arrangement wise, I definitely have an arrangement that I've been using for years, which is just after you do so many songs, you kind of have a way you do things. But I'm constantly listening to songs that are coming out every day, inspiring me, new things that guys are doing, the records that I'm DJing, and I'm constantly kind of studying what they're doing. A lot of times, in the same respect that if I like a song that comes out, I'll pull up a piano and just sort of see what they're doing chord-wise to sort of learn from that. It's always good to learn what new people are doing. I mean, so I don't think there's one specific arrangement that works. I think there's many different arrangements. A lot of guys are, for instance, if you listen to most of my remixes, you're going to hear drums in the beginning of the remix. But a lot of records right now are coming out with music in the beginning. You know why? Because they're figuring that you're just going to mix the music over the end drums from the last record, right? Which makes sense. But for years, guys made remixes with drums on the beginning and drums on the end. So I think that's something that's changed over the last few years. Guys have realized you can just hit them with music from the very beginning, which is just fine if you're mixing over drums from the last record.
I wonder if that's more because in the past you had to actually like really mix in and out. You had vinyl, stuff like that. I mean, you don't really have. You can just hit a button now, right there from the start.
Good point.
So.
People are hitting the sync button on track or whatever. I think it's you're right. I mean, but also it has a lot to do with that, and also it has a lot to do with guys aren't mixing for 5 minutes. I mean, it's not like Danny Tenaglia mixing, Carl Cox mixing four turntables for like 5-minute mixes or something. I mean, it's like people are slamming mixes. So I don't think people are as interested in the mix anymore. I mean, anybody who was DJing when I started DJing, it was all about, man, he really mixed those two records together, right? It was like the cool thing to mix two records together. And now it's just, I don't think anybody even talks about like how that guy mixed those two records together. It's just all about bam, 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 bam. Hit him as hard as you can, like quick. And it's really changed.
Luckily, we talk about it on this site, but you're right. Not too many people talk about it.
You guys talk about it.
We do.
That's why I'm here. We're talking about it.
You make it no secret you really love the music that you work with. We were curious if you make an effort just to focus on the music itself and to kind of leave the business side of things to other people, or do you have to worry about the business side at all?
That's a good question. Anybody in the record business, you can't not worry about the business side. It's all business all the time. Unfortunately, my goal is to spend most of my day making music, but I spend at least a third of my day on the phone talking to people and working out logistics, legalities and stuff, because in this business, and I think any business, it really has to do with your relationships with people. You just can't expect to get I can't expect to get, believe it or not, to get great remixes from people just by having my assistant call and find out what's coming up, or my assistant answer the phone when they call. I mean, that's not gonna be well. You have to just really have good relationships with people, and that, along with your quality of work, is how you're going to sustain a career.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your studio consists of at this point?
Yeah, I can. Can I show you? I can. Well, my studio is just. You see me sitting here at a chair, and if we look around the studio a little bit, I have one big, gigantic rack that's been there for years. Let's see if I can pull that over here. Actually, let's go this way, like this.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of stuff in there.
Well, you can see that's stuff I've had for years. You see it on the top right, or I don't know if it's left for you guys, but there's an old Akai S3000 sampler.
Yeah.
Years ago, I think I had 3 of those loaded up with drums, and that's what I put all my vocals in years ago. Now I'm using it for one thing, and I'll just give you an example of what the one thing is, and that's if you listen to Sugar is Sweeter, that time-stretched vocal, Sugar Daddy, it was a big thing used in Speed Garage back in the late 90s, and it's very drum and bass, sort of jungle kind of vocal effect. And I just keep that for whenever I want to do that. See the good old Nord rack there, and the above that I have my trusty oldest keyboard, which is a let me see, move it this way. Roland MKS here. I'm going to try and fix this a little bit, you guys. Sorry.
No,
that's all right.
We can see.
Roland MKS 30 right there.
Mm-hmm.
And above that, a Roland 5080. Over this way is Studio Electronics SE1 with an Access Indigo, Virus Indigo. Below that, a V-Synth XT, which is pretty cool for. I use that a lot for vocode stuff.
Awesome.
And then bottom of the rack there, Yamaha TX81Z. Everybody knows that sound, the bass sound, lately bass sound. The most popular bass sound of all time in dance music. And a couple other fun things. And yeah.
So do you use mostly outboard gear, or are you using a lot of soft synths?
That's all just fun stuff that I use whenever I want to have fun and pull some sounds out. I mean, years ago, that's all I was using was that stuff. So it's kind of crazy that let me just move this a little bit. it'd be kind of weird for me to get rid of it all. You know, I mean, when you've been using years ago, I was making tracks with all analog stuff. You know, virtual MIDI. I don't know if anybody even knows what virtual MIDI is, but that's actually a MIDI cable plugged into keyboards. Believe it or not. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you. I have a couple drum machines. I have a 909, a Lindrum, and 808. I collect drum machines, so I have almost every drum machine there is. I have a bunch in my closet.
Now,
Here.
do you have Pro Tools on your laptop as well? Do you do production when you're on the road?
Great question, man. You're asking some good questions. Hell no. You know why I say that?
Why?
Because I spent probably, I think yesterday I was in here from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. So, and I have 2 little kids and a wife who's about to divorce me. So having Pro Tools on my laptop is just not something I'm looking forward to. I think maybe at some point, I don't know, I'm going to do something in the hotel room. I keep saying that, or on the plane. But right now, when I get out to DJ on the weekends, it's usually a time to rest my ears.
No, you. I've heard some of the places you spin in Vegas every so often. Correct?
Yeah, I'm there once a month.
Once a month. So you're an active DJ in addition to being a producer, and I've heard you say that you're a producer / remixer first. That comes first, but you do consider yourself a DJ as well. What do you think about this whole deadmau5 thing? Because he said that he's not a DJ at all.
I think that's great. He can say whatever he wants, but I don't think he speaks for the world. I think he's a very, very talented producer, and he has his opinions, just like everybody does. I don't think he's inspiring anybody to DJ, right?
Yeah.
Anymore, anyways.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't agree with what he says. I think everybody is entitled to their own, their own opinion. But I think, you know, look, there's guys up there that have their whole shows programmed in Ableton Live. That you're right, hit a button, and I'll give you a good example. Vince Clarke from the band Erasure. He's been doing that for like 15 years. He's programmed everything. He used to have a big rack that was like 20 feet tall. He'd climb to the top of the rack at the very beginning of the concert, hit play, climb back down, and have a drink. So that's been going on for years. And if that's how you want to go out, I don't know, Swedish House Mafia, if their stuff's pre-programmed, I'm sure a little bit's pre-programmed and some's probably live. You know, if you're going to have lights and video synced to your music, you cannot be DJing live, can you? You've got to pre-program that. And most people are just sort of figuring that out. And you know, the video and lights definitely help make the show, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I guess those guys make decisions to pre-program part of their set so they can have video and lights synced along with their audio. But me, I'm old school. I have no idea what I'm playing. I have a folder of music on my flash drive I throw in the Pioneer CDJ 2000, and what am I going to play? Well, there's a bunch of stuff. Let's pick that one. And maybe it works, and maybe it doesn't. And, you know, DJing by the seat of my pants, that's how I've been doing it for 20 years, and that's how I plan on continue doing it until somebody kills me.
So you do take some pride in having the DJ label in addition to producer, remixer, I take it.
You know what? I don't think you can be a successful... I really don't think you can have your ear to the ground if you're not out seeing. You have to at least go to clubs if you're not DJing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're making dance music, you can't just be in your bedroom listening to Beatport Top 100 and go, "Oh, I've got the Beatport Top 100 tracks. I'm going to use all those and put them in my iTunes and listen to them constantly, and that's what I'm going to inspire me to make music." You have to go out and see what's working. You know, see what the crowd's reacting to, because Beatport or any chart doesn't really hold, should I say, it's not really true anymore. I mean, people can buy things. It's like radio, payola. Is the songs on the radio, are those really the top songs in the world? No, it's whatever the guy at the radio station's deciding to play. I mean, so you have to go out to the clubs and hear what different people are playing to get your own sort of your own playlist, I guess. of what inspires you.
Do you play a lot of your own records when you're out DJing?
That's all I play. No. I've been playing more of my own records the last few years than I used to. I used to really not want to be that guy that's just playing all Dave Aude stuff. And to be honest with you, a lot of the stuff that I do, DJing is a cool thing, isn't it? When you're DJing, nobody wants to be uncool when they're DJing. Nobody wants to be the guy playing Call Me Maybe, right? They want to be the guy playing, Deadmau5, right? So, having said that, a lot of the records I remixed over the years have been, very pop records like Rihanna, Katy Perry, Madonna. And when you're playing cool places, you don't always feel, I guess, you're able to, or it's the right place to play records like Rihanna or Katy Perry. But guess what? Music has changed, and now those records are now mainstream dance records, and it's actually okay to play them in the club. I don't have to just keep banging people out with beats. You can actually throw in a vocal. It's actually cool.
Very true. Now, we know you're very busy. One thing we want to get to before we let you go is there's a lot of young guys watching this and coming up in the game. So we were curious. I guess the first question we have for you is, besides being talented at what you do, what else helped you get to where you are in the game?
I think talent. I definitely don't think talent's a huge part of it. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's knowing what makes you happy. When I started, for instance, when I started DJing, I didn't ever in a million years think that I could make money DJing. I mean, I never thought it was a career. I just thought, it would be cool. The girls will like me, and my buddies will like me. It's fun. Let's go out and party, and I'll be the guy playing the music. Everybody else can dance. It was kind of a control thing / I love music. Everybody knew I was a music guy. So started DJing, and that's kind of how I fell into that. And then, my God, something happened in the 90s, and this DJ culture kind of came around where guys were flying all over the country DJing. And very lucky that you're going to pay me to fly to your city and play music for a couple hours? Really? That's crazy. And no big deal. I'm going to carry these 4 crates of vinyl on the plane and drag them through the airport. And it was a dream come true. So I think you just got to follow your dream, and you got to stay with it. I mean, I've been doing it, and my wife hates it when I say this, but I've been doing it many years. Just go look at my record. Anybody can figure that out. And I really only feel that I'm just finally hitting my stride. So, things don't happen overnight. And you want to be a producer, you want to be a remixer, you want to be a vocalist, you want to own a record label, you want to be a DJ, whatever it is. If you stick with it and you truly are passionate about it, that will resonate with people around you, and you'll find success.
True.
Great advice.
Do you think these kids have it tougher today or easier
these
today?
Kids. I love it. It sounds like an old man. These kids. No. I think it's tough because it's very popular to be a DJ right now, right? When guys like Pauly D from a TV show is a DJ, or Paris Hilton starts DJing. I mean, this is like the topic everybody's talking about this week: Paris Hilton and Pauly D. And when those things start happening, then people who never thought about being a DJ now start thinking about being a DJ. And I guarantee we're going to see for Halloween more DJs than we've ever seen. It's always Halloween. You can tell what the hot thing is, right? Because everybody dresses up. And this year, how many? I'm trying to think what would be fun. How many Deadmau5s are we going to see for Halloween? I mean, it's ridiculous.
So Deadmau5 is like the new Borat.
Deadmau5 is the new Borat. I mean, it's funny. That's like, you've made it when you got a Halloween costume, right?
That's awesome.
But I think it's the cool thing to be a DJ right now, and I think it makes it tougher for guys to separate themselves from other people. But just find your own thing. Do something original. It's unfortunately it's not good enough just to be a DJ anymore. That's the thing that sucks, right? You can't just be. I'm a DJ. Hire me. What do you play? I play house. Are you serious? What kind of house do you play? There's 20 different types of house do you play. So that's not good enough. You have to have a track. You have to have something, a reason for people to hire you. And one good advice I give a lot of DJs starting out is it's okay to not necessarily know what you're doing in the studio. Find somebody who does. You don't have to learn everything. I've been doing this. I got my first keyboard when I was 13 years old. So I've turned knobs for many, many, many years. Find somebody like me who's turned a lot of knobs and knows what the hell they're doing. I have no idea what I'm doing, but find somebody who knows what they're doing and partner up with them to help you make your tracks. Just because you're not turning knobs or playing keyboards doesn't mean you're not making music. You can be the guy with the ear that knows the hot track that you're going to do something like, or let's pull this drum loop from this track. That's a great big integral part of a dance song, is having the direction. So be the guy that be the producer. Be the guy that produces the track. A producer is a guy that puts all the people together, the singer, the vocalist, the people playing the track, the mixer, the engineer that comes in and mixes everything. That's what a producer does. Producer doesn't have to be like me, a guy that does everything. I'm actually thinking about, for the first time, having a couple kids come in and sort of me kind of guide them on what to do, so I don't have to actually sit here and play things and edit things and auto-tune everything, melodyne everything. It's a lot of work. So for the first time, I'm really thinking to myself, man, I just want to, relax a little bit and maybe have some other kids come in and help them start their careers.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate you joining us. I know you mentioned how you can't really trust charts and all the payola and stuff before, but on our charts, we have the promo-only remix charts, and those are legit. It's all figured out by how often DJs are playing remixes when they go out, and it shows that all the DJs who come to our site and who report for that are definitely playing your stuff. So we really appreciate you joining us.
I think that's a great thing, but there's one more thing. There's one thing wrong. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with that chart.
Okay, sure.
You want to know or no?
Sure.
Because it's a great chart, but you got to remember something. It's only as great as the DJs that are charting.
Very true.
Yep.
Right?
That's very true.
We agree.
All the big DJs like Tiesto, Avicii, all the big guys, we got their chart. Imagine how great of a chart we'd actually have.
Very true. Very true.
Right?
We can't argue with that.
Yeah, but it'd be all Tiesto right at the top, right?
All right, well, thanks again. We'd love to have you on again in the future.
We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
remixreport.com